Lifeline presents Stay on the Line. Chapter 1. The beginning. Steve's lying in the bed, barely awake. He reached over to the nightstand to grab his cell phone. Damn, 1:42 a.m. Steve's a little upset that he can't go back to sleep, but at the same time, happy that today will be his last day working at the radio station. His mind won't stop rambling. Retirement. 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 No matter how many times he says it to himself, it's still hard for him to believe this day has come. 25 years in the game, literally half of his life. While he's still in deep thought, the construction crew next door started their heavy-duty equipment again. Baby, 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 roll over, you're snoring. Roll over, baby, you're snoring, Steve said as he nudged her with his elbow. I can't believe you elbowed me that hard. And you know that I don't even snore. That be you, sweetheart. Killing it. She sucked her teeth. Okay, baby, go back to sleep since you don't snore. As soon as you bring the chainsaw and jackhammer out, I'm putting you on Facebook Live so the world can feel my pain, he said with a chuckle. I can't stand you. Love you too, baby. He had the biggest smiley smirk on his face. Still wide awake, Steve got up and headed to his business room. Some might call this room a den or home office. This is his favorite room in their condo. He opened the door and turned the light on. Steve stood there for maybe 45 seconds, scanning the room like he was a doctor, making sure his operating room was ready for surgery. The room is decorated simple but purposeful. Straight ahead, he has a cherry oak desk pushed to the wall with a chair up under it. Over the desk on the wall is a huge painting of the New York City skyline. On the left side of the room, he has all his athletic trophies and achievements in a cherry oak wall unit. On the right, he has all his diplomas, certificates, and plaques stemming from his career in radio, military, school, basically everywhere. No achievement was too small. Steve walked to the desk, opened the drawer, and got a spiral notepad and a pen. He turned around and stared at his recliner on the back wall, which sits beside the door when you come in the room. Next to it was his mother's ashes in an urn, sitting on a table with a lamp. He made it to his recliner, flopped down, and tapped the urn, saying, "Wake up, old lady." This is his sanctuary. Not only a reminder of his achievements, but this is the place where the architecting starts. Steve scanned his radio achievements and reminisced on the people that helped him along the way. The first name after God was his wife. When they met, he had been on the radio for 2 years already and was feeling himself the most. The radio station was hosting a female 5K run or walk in uptown Charlotte. That was the first of many 5K runs sponsored by the Abused, Survived, and Succeeding organization, which ironically abbreviated into ASS. Steve and a few of his male counterparts at work joked secretly about supporting the ass. The event was a success. The turnout was greater than they ever expected. Once the race concluded, it was time to hand out the first, second, and third place trophies for different age brackets. Every participant received medals for finishing the race, but these trophies were for the cream of the crop. Pretty Pearl, his co-host, passed Steve the cue cards with the top runners, and the DJ passed the runners their trophies. Everything was going smooth. They had already gone through the age groups 41 and up, as well as the 30 through 40 age groups. When he announced the results for the 18 through 29 age group, the earth shifted. First place went to Ann Whitley with the time of 2015. Second place went to Stephanie Campbell with the time of 2036. And third place Tracy Lott with the time of 2055. As the three runners approached the stage, Steve was in a daze and a little puzzled by the tall one's beauty. Not like she was the most stunning lady he has ever seen in his life, but it was like she was the most stunning lady he saw every day for years, but never had an introduction. She looked so familiar but mysterious at the same time, if that makes sense. As she grabbed her second place trophy, he looked at the cue card and read her name, Stephanie Campbell. Once all the winners were announced, they posed and took their pictures like the rest of the winners before them. As the runners were stepping down from the podium, Tracy asked if Steve would take a picture with her. Before he could answer, Anne and Stephanie got tangled up and fell in his direction. Stephanie's momentum took Steve down when he tried to catch her. "Are you okay?" Steve asked. "Yes, but my knee is burning," Stephanie replied. He looked down at her knee as she laid on top of him. Whoa, he thought to himself. Her knee was shifted crazy. He took a deep breath, held her tight, and told her, "Don't look down. Focus on me." "Why?" she replied. "Don't ask why. Just trust me." He held her close to him. "Okay," Stephanie said in a childlike voice as a tear rolled down her cheek. She trusted him that day and 20+ years after. Smiling to himself, Steve jotted down many names, heads of departments, co-workers, mentors. The list was getting long, and he knew this wasn't going to fly. He revised it a few times. Then he thought about the time. He got up and went to the kitchen. Once Steve saw the time on the refrigerator clock, he went into a slight panic. Damn, 4:15 a.m. He ran to the bedroom to get his cell phone because he didn't want the alarm to wake up his wife. When he made it to the bedroom door, she had the meanest look on her face, and his phone was on the floor. "Good morning, baby," he said. She rolled her eyes and placed a pillow over her head. Steve grabbed the cell phone and went downstairs into the living room. He opened the closet in the living room and got some workout clothes and yoga mat. He changed and started his stretches. Working out is a lifestyle. Even at home, he goes hard as if he was at the gym putting on a show. 30 minutes into the workout circuit of push-ups, crunches, and scissor kicks, he felt someone watching. It was his wife standing in a negligee holding 2 bottled waters. "You thirsty, sweetheart?" Stephanie asked seductively. Breathing hard, finishing up a set of push-ups, he replied, "Hell yeah." He knew she was thirsty as well, but the water wasn't going to quench her thirst. Steve stood up to get the water from her, and she placed it in his chest, but refused to let it go. She used the same hand with the bottle in his chest to push him on the couch. She had this look in her eyes like she was looking through him. She dropped the waters on the floor, then took her thong off and got on her knees. As she started to pull off his workout briefs, Steve asked her, "Do you want to take this to the show?" Before he could finish the word shower, she placed her hand over his mouth to shut him up. She started to go down on him in the most passionate way. They got it in like they were on vacation with no worries in the world, from the couch to the floor to the yoga mat. They probably covered 20 square feet of the living room, literally. Once they finished, they crawled to get the bottled waters. They sat on the floor with their backs leaning on the base of the couch, drinking the water fast, like they were putting out a fire, breathing so hard as if they just fished a triathlon. "Thank God you don't have your Fitbit on, because that bitch would have blown up," Steve said, looking at Stephanie trying to catch his breath. She spit the water clear across the room. They laughed hard. "You stupid. Now you can finish working out. I'm going to bed." She got up and walked away, still breathing hard. "Yeah, right. I'm done." He watched her walk away, her long legs strutting until he could no longer see her. Steve got up and grabbed his phone so he could listen to his Bible app. He headed to the kitchen, not really knowing what he wanted to eat, but he knew it had to be something light. He grabbed a pan hanging over the island and ran some water. Steve placed it on the stove, then turned the burner on high. He started his Bible app where he left off the day before. Daniel chapter 6. While listening to the app, he grabbed the oatmeal out of the pantry and a bowl off the counter. This chapter was talking about Daniel and when the king threw him in the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May your God whom you serve continually rescue you." For some reason that stuck in his head. While he ate the oatmeal, he continued listening, stopping at the end of chapter 9. Steve placed the bowl in the sink and grabbed a bottle of water. "The shower is calling me," he thought to himself as he walked to the bathroom, drinking his water. He can still smell her bombshell perfume all over him. She knows what that does to him. Stay on the line. Chapter 2. Arrow Steve was standing in the doorway of his walk-in closet. looking back at the clothes he placed on the bed, thinking about which pair of socks would kill this outfit. Usually, he doesn't go this hard, but it's his last broadcast. There's going to be a lot of picture taking, Steve thought to himself. He pulled out the 3-piece navy blue Michael Kors slim fit suit. While looking at the coat, he decided on only wear the vest and pants. The white slim fit dress shirt will finish it off. All I need now are my red, white, and blue socks, he said out loud. His wife woke up while he was looking for his socks. Sweetheart, why do you have on your go-get-'em suit? Well, you know your boy wants to remember this day forever. So, what's better than stamping it with a fly memory? Plus, on my first day, I wore a blue velour sweatsuit and white crispy Air Force Ones topped with my Yankee cap. I started as a young man, but leaving as a grown man. Bam. Straight like that, he said, walking back to the bed with his socks in hand. Okay, grown man. Where's the jacket to the suit? She said, very snappily. Huh? Why did she wake up? Baby, it's July, plus I like wearing the vest without the jacket. Steve shook his head as he walked to the bed. I know, so you can have your arms bulging out your shirt. You know that shirt is too tight. That's why you can't wear a tie with it. Ever since that bitch at the NABBY Awards show complimented you on your physique, oh, she better not be one of your special guests. Stephanie said much more, but all Steve heard was blah, blah, blah. He continued to get dressed as she kept going on and on. He liked it when she acts jealous, but today, she's in rare form. Steve sat on the bed to put on his blue Steve Madden Oxfords. He felt his neck burning from her eyes. He couldn't leave with her like this. After he put on his shoes, he turned to her. Baby, do you know how much I love you? He looked at her with his serious face. I hear what you're saying, but we not talking about that right now. And baby, do you love me with all your heart? With the sweetest sigh, she replied, Yes, sweetheart, without a doubt. And you know I fell for you, literally, the first time we met. So, don't think a woman's compliment or any advancements could or will ever come between what we have. If you only knew how happy I am with you in my life. It's like I'm living out the perfectly scripted autobiography, and you're my personal laptop. Steve looked into her eyes. Hold up. Your personal laptop? You lost me. Yes, without you, my stories are just a thought. And you know, baby, you've always been my type. You get it, keyboard? Type? My type, baby? Steve smiled as only he could do. Aw, so corny, Stephanie said as they embraced, laughing hard. I can't stand you. Even when I'm trying to be mad at you, you still find a way to make me grade school crush nervous. Baby, give me a kiss. I gotta get ready to go. The limo should be here for me in 20 minutes. They kissed, and she gave him the longest hug. The hug felt weird, like the hug his mother gave him when he went into the army. Steve looked at Stephanie as he grabbed his speech from the nightstand. Remember, be there at 11. And be prepared to speak on the air, even though that's not your thing. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Be safe. Love you. I will and love you more, Steve shouted as he walked out of the bedroom. He dialed Tank, his bodyguard, to see if they were ready for him. Ring, ring, ring. Mr. W, the car is ready, and all the procedures have been double-checked, Tank answered, without even saying hello. Great. I don't need anything to go wrong today. And please tell me that you got my special package, Steve voiced pleading. Yes. Raisin bagel, toasted, light butter and cream cheese from BB's on Trade Street, and a strawberry kiwi Snapple, Tank answered. My man T. Mr. W, Tank said very sternly. Excuse me, I mean Tank. I'm coming down now, he said, grinning. Negative, I will be up to get you. Stay put. Roger that, Tank, Steve replied in a funny voice. As Steve waited for him, he laughed to himself. He has never met someone so by the book. He can only call him Tank or Sergeant, and sometimes he reminds him of the specific lines he signed in his contract. If Tank didn't talk, Steve probably wouldn't know he had teeth. And forget about a smile he's been trying for almost 3 months. Ding dong. Steve looked through the peephole of the doorbell, and it was Tank. Tank is built like Conan with a childlike baby face. He yelled back, "Baby, I'm gone." There was no response. He listened harder and heard the shower running. Tank and Steve headed towards the elevator. Steve walked behind Tank and noticed he took his advice and wore a sleeker suit today, but still had on Army Gore-Tex boots. The elevator doors opened before they got to them. Tank stopped abruptly, then guided Steve behind him with his left hand as he stared at the elevator. Mrs. Volkov, his neighbor, got off the elevator with her Shih Tzu. "Hello, ladies." Steve greeted them as he tried to remove Tank's arm from blocking him. "Hello, young man," Mrs. Volkov replied, looking confused at how they were positioned. They got on the elevator and he pressed the lobby button. Before they arrived at the lobby, Tank called down to make sure all was clear. "I can't wait to see how they're sending me off," Steve said out loud to himself. "The station has been great to me over the years." Ding. The elevator doors opened, and they were met by one of Tank's detail. They walked through the lobby slowly as they scanned the surroundings. When they made it to the car, Tank opened the door, and Steve's package was waiting for him. Steve got in, and Tank got in the back with him. The new guy got in the passenger seat. "Good morning, Doc," Steve said to his driver. "Good morning, Mr. W., and congratulations on your retirement." "Thanks," he replied to Doc. "Tank, who's the new guy?" Steve asked. "Oh, that's X. For the past month, I've been wanting to beef up the security while keeping within budget. As a gift to you, I called one of my Special Forces brothers. He has already been compensated by yours truly." "Thanks," Steve mumbled, trying to talk while eating his bagel. He swallowed and clearly said, "I knew you had a heart." Tank just looked at him, then turned away. Thunk. They heard a loud noise as something hit the limo. Doc slammed the brakes, swerved, and hit a parked car. Tank pushed Steve to the floor of the limo and said, "Stay down." "I'm hit," Doc yelled. "With a fucking arrow." "Can you drive to the station?" Tank shouted as he laid on top of Steve. "Yeah," Doc replied in agony. Doc put the limo in reverse, but it wouldn't move. The limo was stuck to the car it crashed into. X kicked out the shattered passenger window, then climbed out of the limo. Steve tried to look up, but Tank kept his forearm on his back. "Stay down," Tank said. Everything was going in slow motion. Steve's heart was beating fast. Finally, Doc got the limo free after going from drive to reverse a few times. The sound of screeching tires and horns honking filled Steve's ears. He sped off as fast as he could into traffic. Darting in and out, they made it to the radio station parking deck. Doc parked the limo in Steve's reserved spot and cut the engine off. Tank told him to remain in the car while he went to check on Doc. Steve sat up and noticed that X never got back in the limo. He rolled down the back window on the driver's side to get a look at what really happened. All he could see was the back of the arrow sticking through the driver door. Doc and Tank were talking, but Steve couldn't hear them. He opened the door and got out. "Didn't I tell you to stay in the car?" Tank yelled, with an expression on his face that Steve had never seen from him. "A fucking arrow, really. What's going on?" Steve walked towards them. "Are you ready, Doc?" Tank asked. Doc took a deep breath and replied, "Yes." Tank opened the door and Doc moaned as he gripped the steering wheel tight. The arrow was stuck in his thigh. "Mr. W., call 911 and get an ambulance while I cut the arrow," Tank said. Steve pulled out his cell phone and dialed 911, but never took his eyes off Doc. Tank pulled out a Rambo knife from his underarm holster. "Hello? What's the emergency?" the operator asked as she answered the phone. "I need some medical attention. My driver has been shot by some type of arrow. We're in the parking deck at the Epic Center. Hurry," he said in a frantic voice. Steve kept looking at Doc. Tank started cutting the arrow. The more he cut, the more the blood leaked out. The operator was talking, but he couldn't make out what she was saying. Steve got nauseous and dizzy, then blacked out. Stay on the line. Chapter 3. Take over. 1 year ago, to the day, Steve had a normal life. Everything was going great for him. Just a regular day at work. Playing music and taking callers has been his life for the past 24 years. Caller, you're on the line with Lifeline. State your name and where you're calling from. My name is Charles, and I'm calling from St. Louis, the caller said. Okay, Charles. What's on your mind? I'm in a relationship with my high school sweetheart. We've been together for over 10 years, married for 4, and we have a set of 6-year-old twins. The relationship has its ups and downs like most, but for the last 3 years, it has been more down. About 18 months ago, I started seeing this young lady. At first, it was just conversation. I don't know if it happened by chance or because my relationship was in a bad place. Even before we got intimate, she reminded me that I don't have to settle for what life has given me. And there might be someone out there on my level, mentally that is. My wife, who's only 27, has been a nag, and some might say bitter ever since she had our beautiful kids. I recommended that she go get checked out for postpartum depression, but she refused. I still married her with no real change in her behavior, but secretly thinking I'm part of the reason. Now back to the new girl. It's possible I'm in love with her. She's been a breath of fresh air, and I would love to marry her. I know this is complicated, but if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears, Charles said. The first thing I want to say is, you made a bad relationship worse by stepping out. We all make mistakes, and that was your first one. I don't know all the variables about your relationship, but from what you said, being unhappy is an understatement. If the relationship is not fixable, move on. The hardest thing a person can do is move normally or productively with a knife stuck in their neck. Eventually, the pain will get so unbearable that it will make you shut down or look for relief. The side chick is your relief with the possibility to be much more. One of the so many golden breakup rules is to never start a relationship with the person you were cheating with. The karma alone is a recipe for disaster. Now, when you stated this is complicated, you were dead on. The 2 biggest complications are your twins. I just hope that you think of all possible scenarios to keep them from being collateral damage. Children used to make a person stay longer, but eventually, not forever. Be mindful and handle this with care for your kids' sake. To be happy is important, and life is too short to be miserable. I hope that you tried counseling and everything possible that could have helped. Once again, if it's not fixable, move on. Many times in our life, we must choose logic over love and make sound decisions. That's just a little food for thought. I could have left you a feast, but I need to be brief. Charles, I dedicate this song to you. You Make Me Wanna by Usher. Good luck. After we pay some bills, we will be back with the beautiful Pretty Pearl, with what's buzzing in the streets. Steve sounded off. The off-the-air sign lights up. As soon as the off-the-air light went on my co-host, Pretty Pearl couldn't wait to chime in. Charles, lucky we didn't have time for me to reply to his stupid ass, Pretty Pearl said. Why does he have to be stupid? He's trying to be happy like everyone else, Steve replied. You co-signing him? Pearl asked while popping her gum, with her eyes cringed almost completely shut. No, but stupid is a harsh word. I call it like I see it. He too old and got too much on the line to be in that situation. See, Pearl is a beautiful master's degree, having independent woman. She has a body like K. Michelle, perfect skin, and beauty like Kenya Moore. She has more drama with men than Mary Jane Paul. They call her the Mary Jane Paul of radio. Steve and her bang heads a lot, but they still have that big brother little sister love. He won't let anyone mess with her, and vice versa. So, what you saying is, with age comes wisdom? He smirked. She sucked her teeth and looked at him with this "da" look. Damn right, and he needs to focus on bringing them Nikes home, Pretty Pearl said. The engineer/DJ, MK3, and Steve looked at each other confused. What does sneakers have to do with this? I'm talking about those checks, boo-boo. To pay these bills. Because a baby or a disease will get your ass killed, Pretty Pearl said, while cutting at her neck with her hand, like a mobster. Okay, murderer, Steve said slowly. She frowned as he chuckled while reading over a few headline topics. MK3 started the 30-second countdown. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we on air, MK3 whispered. MK3 drops the recorded intro. You back listening to the station that's blazing the nation. 96.9 FM Iron Sharpens Iron Morning Show. With yours truly, the infamous Lifeline, and my partner in crime, the lovely Pretty Pearl. As always, Pretty Pearl is bringing you the latest news. In the news, KD is receiving a lot of flack for deciding to sign with the Golden State Warriors. Many NBA veterans are saying the new generation wants things handed to them. Also, Swaggy P and Iggy are no longer a couple. I hate to report this tragic news, but a black male was gunned down and killed sitting in the passenger seat of a car. His girlfriend witnessed it all and recorded the tragedy on her cell phone. My prayers go out to the family of the victim. That's the latest buzz from the bees in the trap. Back to you, Lifeline, Pretty Pearl said. Thank you, Pretty Pearl. There was a long sigh and pause before Steve continued. I try not to let the news get up under my skin, but I'm getting sick and tired of police shooting black people with no regard. Don't get me wrong, no matter the race, the police should have to pay some type of consequence. I understand that working in law enforcement is a hard job, also one that I would never sign up for. The ones who signed up need to be well trained and evaluated monthly by a psychiatrist. Any stressful, demanding, and hostile job can change a person's perspective. I'm going to stop before I get the station pulled off the air. Just know this. I'm frustrated and deeply alarmed to the fact that so many people in this nation are getting numb to this, because it happens so often. He paused for a moment. I don't really know how to say this. My contract runs out on July 22nd, 2017. That's my 50th birthday and my 25th anniversary on this station. That will also be the day I retire. I'm grateful for the position I've been blessed with. I made a lot of money and built some very special relationships in the industry and beyond. I've used this platform as best I could to encourage, inspire, as well as entertain our audience. I feel relieved about making this decision. I talked to my bosses, and they gave me their full support. I love my listeners, my station family, and all my supporters. I'm going to try my hardest to make this last year epic. Trust me. We'll be back. We got to pay some bills. Steve sounded off. Off the air sign lights up. Music playing in the background. When the fuck were you going to tell me? Pretty Pearl said in a raspy tone. We talked about this already, and I made the decision this morning when I was taking a shower. I discussed it with the owner of the station on my way to work. I wasn't trying to leave you in the dark, but... Pearl cut him off. But please, you know anything after but is bullshit. All the things we've been through and shared with each other, that's how you stamp our relationship? Pearl looked at him with a twisted neck. Is that really why you mad, Double P? Damn, I'm sorry for not telling you my life decisions. First. Don't Double P me. She took a long pause, placed her hand over her mouth and exhaled through her fingers. You know what? You're right. You are sorry. Sorry as fuck. Then she stormed out. Steve looked at MK3 to see if he had anything to add or a clue to why Pretty Pearl took it personally. All he did was shrug his shoulders. He was confused, better yet, disappointed in her response. Yo, go check on her, Steve told MK3. MK3 got up and went after her. Still shaking his head as the music continued to play in the background, he noticed that the lines were lighting up. Paul, the intern engineer, taped the glass pointing at the phone lines. Steve nodded to let him know that he saw it. Paul was excited because he gets to screen the callers since MK3 stepped out and Randy is in the Bahamas. Steve's business cell phone started to ring, then his personal line. He grabbed his personal cell phone. It was his wife. He answered it. "Hey, baby." "Don't hey, baby me. Why did I have to get your retirement plans from my mama in a text? Do you know how that makes me feel?" Beep, beep. Her phone kept going in and out. Now all my friends hitting me at the same time with the Steve this and Steve that shit. You always making decisions on your own. Mister, I'm a planner. I always put my family first. Aren't you married? Don't we have to make major decisions together? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Mr. Life motherfucking line. Stephanie screamed through the phone. Yes, yes, I hear you. And now we cursing over the phone at each other. Wow. He took a long pause. Well, answer me. Answer which part? You said so much. Do you want to start over? Believe me, I am not in the mood for none of your jokes. Wow. Steve responded in a very condescending way, while stalling to think of the right thing to say. Well, baby, we've been talking about this for months. You gave me your full support, no matter what my decision was. That's what you told me, right? Stephanie sucked her teeth. Oh, we sucking our teeth now. Pretty Pearl and MK3 walked back in the studio. Since you want to act like I made this decision all alone, I will eat that. Let me finish the show, and we will talk about this later when I get home. Love you. Peace. Steve said, trying to get off the phone. Don't peace me, Steve. I'll be up there before you get off. Bye. Stephanie ended the call. He looked at the phone as the call ended, then turned to MK3 to see him pointing at the phone lines lighting up. If MK3 only knew how Steve was feeling about answering another phone call, he would have pointed to the door. He knew he had over an hour to go and was still feeling the animosity from Pretty Pearl as she's filing her nails while Jailhouse staring him down. I know I'm the rookie in the room, but the show must go on. I picked up and screened a few calls, and Doug demanded that we answer as many as possible. So, can you two start acting like professionals? MK3 said, while looking at them for an answer. Can you two wait until our show is off before you kill one another? Doug doesn't know what's going on in here, so let's keep it that way. We have 5 minutes before we go on the air, MK3 said to Pretty Pearl and Steve. Doug is the owner of the station. He's weird like Pee Wee Herman, but has a heart of gold. Neither one of them responded to MK3, not even with a subtle gesture. Complete quietness for at least 90 seconds. Finally, Steve said something. So, are y'all giving me my birthday gifts today, or on Monday when I come back to work? They both looked at each other. Oh, I know y'all hear me. You know you going to get your gifts today with your spoiled ass, Pretty Pearl said. He knew that would get her to talk. She's the ultimate gift giver, even better than his wife. 30 seconds to show time. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we are on the air. MK3 whispered. MK3 drops the intro. You back listening to the station that's blazing the nation. 96.9 FM Iron Sharpens Iron Morning Show. With yours truly, the infamous Lifeline, and my partner in crime, the lovely Pretty Pearl. We're going to take a few calls between playing some of the hottest hits on the planet, Pretty Pearl said. The calls started coming in, one after another, everyone saying they're going to miss Steve and wishing him well. Thanks for all the love, and believe you me, it's touching me more than I thought it would. Love y'all, he said, very choked up. We'll be back. We got to pay some bills. He sounded off. Once the off-the-air lights came on, Pretty Pearl signaled for her assistant to bring in his gifts. Even though I'm hurt and disappointed, it's still your birthday, and we still love you. Everyone chipped in except for the few people that always don't. Hint, hint. So, for most of us at the station, we hope that you enjoy your day tomorrow and that you love your gifts, Pretty Pearl said. Pretty Pearl's assistant, Jackie, handed him 2 huge NY Giants birthday bags full of stuff while Pretty Pearl was talking. Wow, Steve said loudly as he pulled some of the items out of the bag. 2 Invictus watches, a $500 Dolce Lusso spa gift certificate, Under Armour, and Adidas workout gear galore, he said, announcing every gift, still pulling out dry-fit socks and underwear. He grabbed a DVD at the bottom. Steve almost shed a tear when he read out loud the words and signature on the cover. To one of my biggest supporters, who always shows up, turns out and never disappears. Your girl, Sanaya Lathan. He can't believe she signed one of my favorite movies, Disappearing Acts. Only Pretty Pearl knows how to make him soft by using the things she knows about him. Sometimes he thinks she knows him better than his wife. Thanks, guys. Y'all really know how to make me feel special. And to you, Pretty Pearl, you going to have me sleeping on the couch because my baby will know you picked out these gifts. I love you guys, especially you Double P. We need to wrap up these last few minutes so my birthday weekend can officially start, he said, still going through his gifts. You're welcome, repeated the whole staff in the room as the rest looked through the glass. Pretty Pearl gave me a tight, long hug. I love you too, she whispered in his ear. I'm sorry if I hurt you by springing my decision on you, he whispered as they released from their embrace. She didn't say a word, but when she nodded, he knew they were good. 30 seconds to showtime. 6 to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we are on the air, MK3 whispered. MK3 drops the intro. You back listening to the station that's blazing the nation. 96.9 FM Iron Sharpens Iron Morning Show. With yours truly, the infamous Lifeline, and my partner in crime, the lovely Pretty Pearl. We're going to take 2 more calls before we crack this DeLeon and start the birthday shots, Steve said, hyped up. Caller, you're on the line with Lifeline. State your name and where you are calling from. Satan, and I'm calling from hell, where I'm waiting for your arrival. The caller's voice was disguised with a demonic voiceover machine. Hearing this ridiculous caller, Steve signaled to MK3 to cut the call. I can't, MK3 responded as he worked on the phone lines. Listen up closely, Lifeline. When you announced your retirement, you decided your fate. Your last show will be your last day breathing. The clock starts today, Satan said. I really don't know how you are breaking into our system, but this is the dumbest prank ever. Take your auto-tune loser ass and get a hobby. Steve mic turned off. He looked at all the engineers looking perplexed as the show was being hijacked. If you really knew that you were talking to Satan, I think you would show some respect. Maybe I need to show you that this is not a prank unless your life is a joke to you. Lights out, bitches, Satan yelled. The power went off on the whole floor. People started getting nervous, using their cell phone as lights. How the fuck is this happening? MK3 asked, confused. Relax. Everyone calm down and stay together, Steve replied. As he was speaking, the security officers made it to our studio, which gave the room some comfort. The lights flickered like the generator was trying to kick in, then they came on completely. A few of his co-workers really looked alarmed. Now that I have your attention, think about your career versus your life. That's what this comes down to. Also, call a cab. Because your car is fucked up. Fucked up. Satan hung up. Everyone was looking at each other, but no one said a word. The studio phone rang. Pretty Pearl picked it up. Hello? Her face changed quickly as she listened to the person on the phone. Life, I hate to tell you this, but your car has been vandalized in the parking deck, Pearl said while holding the phone. What? Steve ran to the elevator. Stay on the line. Chapter 4. Vandalism. When the elevator stopped, Steve ran to his car. I can't fucking believe this. He walked around his car in disgust. The security finally caught up and stood behind him. Damn, my new BMW X5, white on white with BBS rims, he thought to himself. They busted out all the door windows, cut all the tires, and sprayed red paint all over the car. Don't touch anything, the police are on the way. one of the security officers said. Steve looked back at him with a nasty, sarcastic look. This guy, he thought to himself. If they were doing their jobs, my car wouldn't be a crime scene. Ring, ring. Hello? Steve answered his phone as he paced back and forth. Hello, where are you? Stephanie asked. Baby, I'm in the parking deck. Some idiot decided to destroy my car that I haven't even made the first payment on. What a way to start my birthday weekend. Thank God it's just your car which can be replaced. Are you all right? I'm good. A little puzzled and upset. Puzzled on how they, whoever, took over the station and at the same time did this to my car. Now I gotta wait here for the police. As a matter of fact, where are you? On my way to the station to pick you up so we can go to Evoke. I made reservations so we can eat while we discuss your retirement. Plus, I need a stiff drink, and don't judge me talking about it's too early in the morning. Exhaustedly, Steve said, I don't have the energy to judge anyone. Believe me, I need a cold one myself. Go on without me. I will meet you there after the police do what they do. Are you sure? I can wait for you, and we can ride together. No, go ahead. Mr. Williams, Mr. Williams. A security officer sounded off from a distance. The police have arrived. Covering the phone with his hand, he told him, 1 second. Steve uncovered the phone and told his wife, The police need me. I will get with you as soon as they finish. He ended the call. How you doing, sir? I'm Detective Bickerstaff, and I will be leading this investigation. While my team works the crime scene, I will be asking you some questions that can possibly help with the case. If you get overwhelmed at any point during the questioning, let me know and we can take a break. Would you like to go to your station or do it in one of the department vehicles? Detective Bickerstaff asked. Looking at him confused, Steve exhaled. Then he responded, In a vehicle. He followed him to a silver Chevy Tahoe. Detective Bickerstaff opened the back door and they both got in. Do you have any enemies? I wouldn't call them enemies. I have a few social media critics/haters. They never took it this far. Most of them just wanted a response. Usually, if I didn't respond, they would fade away. Do you have any emails, old tweets, or anything that could help us to determine if any of them could possibly be a suspect? He held a notepad and pen waiting for Steve to answer. My publicist, Becky Wakeford, handles all my social media accounts. She will be more than willing to assist you on whatever you need. She also has some of the alarming fan letters. Before Steve could finish what he was saying, someone knocked on the detective's window. The detective got out and closed the door. Steve couldn't hear what the officer was telling Detective Bickerstaff. Detective Bickerstaff looked back at him, then walked over to his car. Steve sat up, trying to see what they were looking at, but he couldn't tell. Getting more frustrated, he started texting his wife. Steve, hey baby, don't get too wasted, LOL. I wish I was there with you, wifey, not even tipsy yet. How much longer before you get here, Steve? I don't know. I wish the detective hurry up and wrap this up. I've been sitting in this paddy wagon for 15 minutes waiting for him to get back. Wifey. Okay, hurry up, sweetheart. When he read sweetheart on her last text, it made him feel good. The alcohol is making her less mad at him. Steve smiled to himself over her text. The detective made it back to the car and opened the door. Step out of the car, sir. I need to show you something, said Detective Bickerstaff. As Steve got out of the vehicle, the detective scrolled through his phone, flipping through some pictures. He stopped at one picture, then enlarged it with his fingers. Then he turned his phone so Steve could see the picture. Do you recognize this bag? Yes, that's my travel gym bag, but that shouldn't be here. I keep that packed and stored with my luggage. Well, sir, the mystery isn't how the bag got here. We are concerned that a mutilated German Shepherd was found in the bag. No. Hell no. This can't be happening. Not my dog, Steve said in a bothersome tone. Taking a deep breath, then exhaling. I know Rocky is not in that bag. He tried to run over to his car, but the officers held him back. Blowing with his mouth wide open, he was trying not to tear up. He asked the officers to check his collar. "Can somebody check his collar? Can somebody check his fucking collar, please?" Steve shouted. They all looked at him like they didn't understand English. Detective Bickerstaff nodded to one officer. "Put the collar in an evidence bag, then bring it to me." Steve started tapping his foot, trying to calm down, while waiting to see if that was Rocky or at least his collar. The officer gave the bag to Detective Bickerstaff. "Is this your dog's collar?" Detective Bickerstaff asked, while showing him the evidence bag. As Steve looked, all he could do was sigh in disbelief. He remembered when they got him that boxing glove charm to go on his collar. "Yes, that's Rocky's collar." "Can I go back to the truck?" I think I need to sit down," he said, stuttering. "Sure, go ahead. After I give my men a few instructions, I will be right there so we can finish this up. Then you can be on your way," Detective Bickerstaff said. Steve was sitting back in the truck, rubbing his head with both hands, not understanding what was happening. Most times when he's having a bad dream, he can wake himself up. This is not a dream. This is a living nightmare. He took his phone out his pocket and started to text Stephanie to let her know what happened to Rocky. He just couldn't get the nerve up to send her that type of text. Knowing her response was going to be, "They were in our house?" He typed 3 different messages that finally got erased. He texted, "Steve, I love you, wifey. I love you more." Detective Bickerstaff opened the truck door and got in. "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" "No, I'm fine, just ready to go home. Mr. Williams, since we have had a few new turns of events, from communicating threats and vandalism to a B&E, along with the killing of your pet, we are going to finish this at your home. I've sent a 6-man team to your home in Davidson to start collecting evidence outside the house. Once you and your wife get there, my team can start inside. Where is your wife?" "She's at Evoke waiting on me. You need to call her and tell her to go home as soon as possible. Tell her the police will be there waiting on her, but don't tell her any particulars. I don't want to alarm her more than we have to. If she starts to question why, tell her it's just a precaution that the detective suggested. Do you think you can do that, Mr. Williams?" "Yes." "Great. Call her now." Steve called his wife. Detective Bickerstaff got out the truck to use his phone. "Sergeant Gonzalez, this is Captain Bickerstaff. I need you to leave your post and head over to Evoke the restaurant. Mr. Williams's wife is over there waiting on him. I told him to tell her to go home immediately, and I need you to follow her. Make sure she's not being followed or targeted. Keep a safe enough distance that she doesn't spot you. I will meet you and the rest of the team there shortly," Detective Bickerstaff said. "Roger that, Captain." Sergeant Gonzalez sounded off. As he was talking to Stephanie, Detective Bickerstaff got into the Tahoe with me. Another officer opened the driver door and sat down while fastening the seatbelt. He started the truck and rolled out. "Okay, baby, I'll see you shortly." He ended the call. Stay on the line. Chapter 5. Crime Scene. As they hit his street, Steve thought to himself, "I can't wait until this day is over." When they parked, he saw all the police activity and realized this day has just begun. "I need you to sit in the vehicle until your wife shows up. Then we'll go into the house and finish the questioning while my team searches for evidence. Hopefully, we can get done in an hour or 2, depending on what the team finds. Your corporation can help speed up the process, as well as determine our next move in this investigation. The more accurate the answers are, the faster we usually can pinpoint and rule out suspects. Did you get that, Mr. Williams?" "Try to be precise," Detective Bickerstaff said. "Yes, I got it." "Great. I will be right back." Detective Bickerstaff and the officer both got out of the Tahoe and shut the doors. Steve watched him go over to the officers that were standing in a huddle. "Sergeant Baker, what do you have so far?" Detective Bickerstaff asked. "It seems that the suspect or suspects entered the house through the kitchen door located in the back of the house. They used something to pry the door open. which busted the lock completely. We still haven't entered the home, but we did dust the door and have a few fingerprints. Whoever did this, I believe, had it well planned, Captain. Why would you say that, Sergeant? They were very careful not to leave us any footprints. It's one thing to drag your feet while walking, so it's hard to recover your footprints, but this perp went above and beyond, raking the dirt and grass to erase their footprints. Then they took the handle and not the fork part of the rake. If this wasn't planned, we are dealing with a very intelligent and extremely violent individual, he said as he showed the captain pictures he took. Steve spotted his wife pulling up. He got out of the car and watched her while she found a place to park. A police cruiser was in her usual spot. He walked to her car and opened her door as she cut the engine off. Still in the car, she grabbed her pocketbook and keys. Damn, baby, you had me worried taking so long with your slow driving ass. First of all, your girl is not trying to get a DUI for nobody. For you to be so worried, I don't have no missed calls. While getting out the car, she sucked her teeth. Whatever, the detective is over there, and he wants to ask us questions together while they search the house. Also, she stopped what he was saying. Search the house. For what? Shouldn't they be at the radio station or harassing somebody there? You know I don't do cops, especially not at my house. Are you serious? Like I can't get enough of the cops. Just calm down. We can talk when they leave, about any and everything. Just focus on answering their questions so we can possibly enjoy the rest of our day. While Steve was talking to Stephanie, Detective Bickerstaff started heading their way. Mrs. Williams, I'm Detective Bickerstaff, the lead detective on this case, he said while shaking her hand. As I informed your husband, I have a few questions to ask you while my team searches the house. The sooner we go into the house, the sooner we can leave you two alone. I don't mind answering any questions, but y'all in my house. Just thinking about you going through my personal things makes me sick to my stomach. All because one of his stupid fans messed his car up, Stephanie replied while staring at the detective. Baby, let's go into the living room and let them do their job, please. Steve unlocked the front door and they walked in the house. Stephanie and Steve sat on the couch while officers swarmed the house. As they watched them, Steve realized that they never had that many people in here that they didn't know. Detective Bickerstaff started walking in their direction holding a folder. Mr. and Mrs. Williams, before I start the questioning, I would like to catch you up to speed with our investigation thus far. A caller took over the station around 11:10 a.m., communicating threats. Then, you received a call about your car being vandalized. Then you, Mr. Williams, went to the parking deck with security and saw the damages for yourself. So far, is everything correct, Mr. Williams? Yup, pretty much, he answered. Stephanie looked at him with a confused look while holding his knee. Okay, great. Now, what you thought was spray paint on your vehicle was actually blood. There was the word die written 3 times, as well as Jubilarse twice. Jubilars is retired in Spanish. We don't know if the Spanish is a message inside of a message, but it clearly stood out. Now going back to the blood. By your facial expressions, you seem a little disturbed. This is all too common in my line of profession and somewhat cliché. In the 20th century, Chinese writer Lu Xun said, "Lies written in ink can never disguise facts written in blood. So understand that we are dealing with a methodical sociopath. The mutilation of the K9 was, forgive me, where's my thinking? Mrs. Williams, I hate to inform you, but we found your German Shepherd Rocky dead in your husband's car," Detective Bickerstaff said in a compassionate tone. What? That can't be true, Stephanie said with a stutter. Did you know this, sweetheart? Stephanie asked as her eyes got watery, removing her hand from his knee. Yes. I found out a few minutes before I called you to go home. I didn't want to devastate you over the phone, I'm sorry. The detective thought it would be best to tell you once you got to the house, baby. Yes, Mrs. Williams, I suggested. The detective started to say, "Stop. I heard enough from you. I'm talking to my husband in our house, thank you," Stephanie said to the detective. "So, let me get this straight. Our dog Rocky dies, gets killed or whatever, and you don't tell me. You listen to Mr. Bean, no disrespect," as she motions to Detective Bickerstaff, "over your better judgment. You know me? You are full of so many surprises today, it doesn't make any damn sense," Stephanie said, heated. She blew out and wiped the few tears out her eyes. "I'm not going there with you before I get locked up. Somehow things always have to be about you. Really, not today." "That's my word," he whispered under my breath. "Can you please continue, detective? So I can have a wind-down drink. Man, please continue. I'm sorry, Mrs. Williams, for not letting your husband inform you sooner on Rocky's death. The department tries not to give disturbing information over the phone. It's against protocol, and for the most part, very insensitive. Once again, I apologize and hope that you understand we're here to help." Stephanie just stared at the detective. Then she gestured with her hand as to say, "Continue." "Okay, the way Rocky was killed, it seemed a little over the top, let alone the extremely high count of stab wounds we found. They cut his paws off and stuffed them in his mouth. That's a first for me, and I've seen a lot of alarming things on this job. With that said, how did they get Rocky?" the detective questioned. "Looking through some of my team's early notes, there's no sign of struggle getting your dog. No blood, no struggle, no witnesses. These three variables make my job harder, but not impossible. Once we get the lab work back, hopefully, we will have some leads. What I need you to do is write down a list of people who've been to your house in the last month. Any weird solicitors, basically anything out of the norm. Check your home to see if anything's missing. Change your locks and get an audio, video alarm system. The alarm system doesn't stop them completely, but it will scare off most criminals." The detective's phone started to ring as he was talking. "Excuse me, I need to take this call." Detective Bickerstaff got up. "You know we gotta move," said Stephanie. "So, we just gonna run and hide?" "Oh, I know. Witness protection and change our names. Better yet, get a facelift." "My bad. I forgot you're Rambo." "Humph." Stephanie chuckled while she said that. "Don't let your 4 years in the Army, 100 years ago, get the both of us killed. This is serious, Steve." "Sergeant Gonzalez, this better be important. I'm in the middle of interviewing Mr. and Mrs. Williams," Detective Bickerstaff said when he answered his phone. "Yes, Captain. My wife just called. My mother was in a bad car accident. She's at CMS Hospital downtown in ICU. My wife told me my mother might need emergency surgery. Sorry I had to run out in the middle of the investigation," said Sergeant Gonzalez. "Sorry to hear that. Take care of your family. I will come up to the hospital when I leave here," Detective Bickerstaff said as he looked to the heavens. "Thanks, Captain. I gave Sergeant Harris my notes on this investigation. Also, Mrs. Williams wasn't in a rush to get home. She stopped at North Harbor Club for about 15 minutes. I haven't had time to follow up on that, but it's written in my notes." "Gotta go, Captain," said Sergeant Gonzalez. As the detective ended his call, he overheard Mr. and Mrs. Williams going back and forth. He wrote Mrs. Williams' name on a piece of paper in his folder and circled it several times. Then he walked back in the room with the couple. "Who was the last person to see Rocky alive?" the detective asked. "Me. I didn't leave here until a little after 9 to run some errands," Stephanie replied. Detective Bickerstaff started taking down notes of Stephanie's responses. "Are you normally home around that time of morning?" "No, usually I leave home for work around 7:15 a.m. on weekdays. I took off today to start my husband's birthday weekend off early." "Okay, great. Just trying to make sure the perp wasn't expecting you to be home. Violent celebrity stalkers sometimes target the spouse of the person they're stalking, especially if it's sexual fantasy driven. They feel that if they get the spouse out the way, they might have a chance," Detective Bickerstaff continued. "Mr. Williams, Did you make any stops on your way to work? Yes. I stopped at Einstein Brothers Bagels for maybe 15 minutes or less. Did you notice anything unusual? Your interaction with the cashier or anyone at the shop? No, not at all. I'm a regular. I even shout them out over the air, just to show love. Okay, great, but if anything comes to mind later, let me know immediately. Will do. Mrs. Williams, can you tell me all the places you've been today? Detective Bickerstaff spoke to Stephanie again. I went to Fisher Farm Park, got in a good 6-mile run, then walking back to my car, I started checking my messages, because when I run, I put my phone in airplane mode. I called my mother back. She couldn't stop congratulating me on my husband's retirement announcement. I called my husband and told him I will be at the station before he gets off. When I left the park, I went to the cleaners to pick up our clothes. Then I headed to Charlotte. I went to Evoke, waiting on my husband to have brunch. He called me, told me to go home, and now I'm here. Stephanie answered with a slight roll of her eyes. When you left Evoke, did you come straight home? Yes. Did you notice anyone following you or being weird while you were out today? Detective Bickerstaff asked. No, no more weird than normal, she answered as she bit the inside of her mouth. I think I have enough. I appreciate your patience. Here's my card with all my numbers. Handing them cards, he said, My team is packing up and should be out of here in the next 20 minutes tops. Thanks once again. No problem, and thank you for everything, Steve said to the detective. For everything? He didn't do shit. Rocky's still dead. Our privacy is getting violated as we speak. Then he questioned me like I was a suspect. Really? A suspect? You watch too many Netflix cop shows? That man was trying to help us. He stared at her. Well, he had one more question before I would have snapped. Ain't nobody got time for that. These cops need to hurry up so I can crack open some wine. Damn, I need to get my gifts from the station before somebody steals my stuff. Baby, call a locksmith for the back door and Google a security alarm company. Okay, I'm already on it. Stay on the line. Chapter 6. The Party. 6 hours later, their house has been restored. The locksmith and the ADT installer finally left. Baby. Steve called out to Stephanie from the kitchen but got no response. He walked to the living room and could hear Shide playing from their bedroom. Baby, you hear me calling you? He yelled up the stairs, still no answer. She must be in the bathroom, he thought to himself. He went back to the kitchen to get his glass of wine and the brochures for the alarm system. Walking back to the living room, Steve laughed to himself, thinking about when the installer suggested they put cameras inside the house, and Stephanie got heated. She's too funny, but he feels her. He thinks that's too much access himself. He flopped on the couch, reading over the functions in the brochures. Damn. I can unlock the door with my cell phone. Technology is a bitch, he said aloud. Sweetheart, come and take a shower. I have a surprise for you, Stephanie yelled down the stairs. Coming, baby. When he got upstairs, she was drying off on her side of the bed. Steve noticed the massage table was pulled out a little bit from under the bed. He jumped in the shower that she left running and damn near broke his neck. He laughed to himself because he knew he looked crazy when he slipped. During his shower, he played the day's events over in his head. This has been one of those days that you want to forget. Those thoughts didn't take him out the mood of what his wife was about to spring on him. When the massage table comes out, legends are made. It's 1,000 shades of chocolate. He cut off the shower and grabbed a towel as he headed to the bedroom. Steve walked in the bedroom, all seductive to find himself alone. Okay, you want to play hide and freak? He went back in the bathroom, got the baby oil, and threw it on the bed. He knocked out 70 push-ups to get that straight out of the gym look going. Breathing hard, he got oiled up, stalling a little so she can prepare whatever is up her sleeve. He even took the time to look in the mirror, flexing his chest and dancing to the music she had pumping loud downstairs. Stephanie yelled upstairs, "Hurry up, sweetheart, and bring my Louis V bag off the rocking chair." "Okay, Fire, I'll be right there, he yelled back in a seductive tone. Steve grabbed her purse, thinking maybe there was a new toy inside. He stepped in his bedroom shoes, then looked in the mirror as he played with himself for a minute to get his love wand lengthy. He placed her purse straps in his mouth and he danced down the steps. "Surprise!" roared at him as he got to the bottom steps. The living room was full of friends and family covering their eyes. Steve grabbed the purse out his mouth immediately and covered his magic wand. "So, I guess I need to get dressed, or everyone needs to get naked with me," he said with a dumb look on his face. "Take your ass upstairs," Stephanie said through gritted teeth. Steve walked backward, holding the purse to stay covered up. He was so embarrassed when he got to the bedroom, he tossed her purse clear across the room. He started putting on some clothes as Stephanie walked in. "Sweetheart, what were you thinking?" "What you mean?" "First of all, you rushed me to take a shower. I saw the massage table out, and you're blasting all this slow music. You thought—" She started to say, then started laughing. She fell back on the bed, laughing hard with a few snorts in between her laughs. "You gonna snort and laugh in my face like this shit is funny? I don't even know who the fuck is downstairs that's seen me naked. But you find this amusing? Only you, baby, only you," he said, shaking his head while getting dressed. "Stop being overdramatic. I was the closest to the steps, and you reacted quicker than you think. You better be glad I didn't let your nephew record us saying surprise. He wanted to record you so bad. I know how much you don't like surprise parties. Thank God I said no. Sweetheart, just try to see the humor in all this and enjoy the moment. Can you please be on your best behavior until our company leaves?" She rubbed his bald head. "I will try. I'm just not in the mood for company after the day we've had. And don't think you rubbing me up is going to stop me from being mad about this surprise bullshit. That's why I don't do surprises." He put on some of his Yves Saint Laurent cologne. "I love you too, sweetheart. I love you more. I really love the fact I got your purse instead of your credit card holder. 'Cause you know I couldn't hide all this with your card holder." He grabbed his crotch. "Whatever. Where is my bag anyway?" she asked while sitting on the bed scanning the room. "I need to give Mama her money back for picking up the food I ordered for the party. Plus, ain't nobody thinking about your body. Your purse is over there." He pointed to her purse on the floor. "We'll see who got a good look at Adonis once the party is over." He smiled at her. "What? What's that supposed to mean when the party is over?" Stephanie frowned, staring at him. "Whichever one of your thirsty-ass friends wants to stay and clean up after the party is over? Oh, that bitch wants the goods," Steve said as he ran out of the room and hit the light switch to leave her in the dark. He heard her yelling something as he ran down the steps. "Whoa," he thought to himself. "It's a lot of people up in here. Hey, how you doing?" "Glad you could make it," Steve repeated over and over. He finally made it to his nephew Slim and his dude Sonny. "What's good, homies?" he asked them with the strongest New York accent. His wife finds it funny that he talked differently around his friends and family. "I'm good, cuzzo. Waiting on you to take a shot with us," Sonny answered. "Nothing, Unc. Chillin'. Sipping on this Henny trying to get right. But this music killing me," Slim said while slurring his words. "This Stephanie music, so get used to it or let's take it to the garage," he said to Slim and Sonny. "I feel you," Slim responded. "Yo, Unc help us settle this bet me and Sonny made. When you came downstairs the first time, didn't you have on a patent leather bodysuit?" Slim asked as he started laughing hard. Sonny was trying not to laugh. "Fuck you. While you laughing, you better hope your wife didn't see me," Steve said to Slim with a smirk. "Cut it out, family. It's all love," Sonny said. "Yeah, it's all love. Definitely. My wife grown, plus you don't got nothing on me, Unc. I'm Gucci over here," Slim said while pouring another drink. "You might be good, nephew, but one naked image of your boy has made the best get a little curious. It's hard to go from Idris Elba to Marlon Wayans. from Morris Chestnut to Nick Cannon. Chocolate trumps caramel every time, Steve said to Slim as he waved at his wife, who was talking to Stephanie in the other room. She waved back. Then he looked at Slim. You play too much, Unc, always taking the jokes too far. Slim walked over to his wife. Sonny smirked and shook his head. Stephanie brought Steve a plate while he was standing with Sonny. Sweetheart, I hope this is enough food for you. She passed him the plate. Thanks, baby. I need this in my life now I'm starving. Sonny, you know Pretty Pearl is in the backyard by herself, Stephanie said. Word? Pardon me, fam. It's time to spark something, Sonny said, rubbing his hands as he walked off. Pearl is going to eat him for breakfast. You wrong for that, he said to Stephanie. She laughed and walked away. Stuffing his face, Steve realized it's more women in here than men. Besides Sonny and Slim, it was only one other guy here, Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny is Steve's mother-in-law's fiancé. He's too cool for school. He can't wait to see what he's wearing. He finished eating, poured some red wine, and walked into the living room. Is everyone having a good time? He asked the guest. Yes. Yes, echoed the guest that responded. Yes, I am now, after you tried to blind everybody, Ms. Darlene said. Ms. Darlene is Stephanie's mother. You too funny, ha ha. I see why Mr. Benny can't get enough of you. Sweetheart. Mama. Cut it out. We have company, Stephanie said to them. I'm good, baby. She will not get me going tonight, he said, then sat next to Mr. Benny on the couch. I hope not. What's shaking, cat daddy? He asked Mr. Benny. Cooling young blood. Happy to be above the ground, fresh to death and never out of bounds, Mr. Benny said, as only a pimp can do. I know that's right, he said with a slight laugh. Steve sat there bobbing to the music and looking at everyone enjoying themselves. It's a joy for him to see Stephanie in her element. She loves a good party. She was going around passing out Jell-O shots. He truly loved that woman. Steve's Aunt Rachel took at least 4 Jell-O shots. She believes anything free is good. Aunt Rachel is his heart. She's his mother's baby sister. She's more like his big sister than an aunt. She has a strong personality. Either you love her or hate her. Aunt Rachel always says she keeps it real, but it's more like rude. She has no filter. Bump, bump, bump. The beat for the cha-cha slide came on. Ah, shit! Stephanie yelled as she put the Jell-O shot tray down. All the women jumped up and ran to the dance floor, which is really the dining room. Even Pretty Pearl came from the backyard and joined in. It's funny how women react to line dancing. Amber, Stephanie's co-worker, was struggling to stay on beat. White privilege doesn't help on the dance floor. I know you're not going to let them shine on you, Mr. Benny. Steve tried to get him started. Shine on me? Youngblood, you must have bumped your head. I do the shining, never get shined on. Hold my drink and take notes. Mr. Benny headed to the dining room. Steve put his drink on the end table as he grinned from ear to ear, watching him bumping into people trying to dance. This is hilarious, and his dress code is not helping. Now his Kango hat and silk shirt matched with deep creased pants. But he has on a pair of Jordans No. 5. Mr. Benny don't know if he's going to the club or down the lane for a dunk. This guy. Past the line dance junkies, Steve sees Sonny coming in from the backyard. He started walking towards Steve, but kept looking back at them dancing. Yo, fam, who's the white girl looking like she's square dancing? Sonny asked once he made it to Steve. You silly bee, that's Stephanie's co-worker Amber, he said to Sonny while still laughing at Mr. Benny. Yo, I didn't know that y'all rocked with white people like that. I'll work with them, but never where I rest. So, if one of them at my house, I better be in cuffs. Word, Sonny said. I hear you, Malcolm Farrakhan. Stay woke, brother, and bean pies to you, he said to Sonny with a smirk. You got jokes. Sonny watched the dance floor. Pretty Pearl started walking their way. When Sonny saw her coming, his body language changed up. "Here goes this dyke bitch. I'll be back, fam." Sonny walked off. Pretty Pearl sat next to Steve trying to catch her breath. "What's up with you and Sonny? Not a damn thing with his weak-ass game." When he came into the backyard, I was on the phone with my assistant. He stared me down the whole time I was talking, which was rude. Then, when I hung up, I tried to come back into the house. He told me, "Hold up, so I can rap to you for a second, my queen." I look at him, then I notice he smelled like Kush or some loud. I stopped him and told him to shut up and roll up. After I got enough of the blunt, I told him to cut the small talk. I told him I'm looking for an equal opportunity relationship. He asked, "What's that?" I told him, "If you give me oral, I will give you oral." He smiled when I said that. Then I said, "If you give me dick, I will give you dick." He choked on the blunt. Then Sonny said, "You got a dick, you sick motherfucker?" I told him, "No, but I got a 12-inch strap-on with his name on it." He cursed me out and almost tripped over his feet trying to get away from me. Pearl said as we started laughing, "You are retarded." They laughed so hard. Steve shook his head thinking, who says that to someone? He felt someone eyeing him, so he looked at the dance floor, and it was his wife. She bit her bottom lip to gesture she's going to fuck him up. He scooted over, away from Pretty Pearl. It got awkward for a second. Then Pretty Pearl got up and started dancing again. He didn't realize they had that many line dance songs. After a while, he started yawning and had enough. Steve walked to the dance floor and grabbed Stephanie and slow grinded on her. "You know this ain't that type of song, and you still ain't on beat." "I'm dancing to the beat in my head. You're the one off beat." On a serious tip, I'm tired and starting to feel a little sick, he said, trying to look sad. "You want me to get something for you, baby?" "No, I'm going to tell the guest how I feel and thank them for coming. Then I'm going to lay it down, baby." "It's not even 10:30, you getting old?" "Whatever." Before Steve walked away from Stephanie, Amber and Sonny walked up holding hands. "Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time as always with my favorite couple. I love you guys," Amber said, rocking back and forth. She had way too much to drink. "We love you too," Stephanie and Steve said at the same time. "I'm going to get my car in the morning. Sonny's going to drive me home," Amber said as she put her other hand in Sonny's back pocket. "Well, is he now? Isn't he helpful?" "Amber, baby, wait over by the door. Sonny will be right there," Stephanie said. "Okay, good night, y'all," Amber said as she walked to the door. "My dude, what are you doing? You know she worked with Stephanie, right? What happened to that, you don't rock with them shit you was just talking?" Steve said, looking at him like he's crazy. "I still feel like that. You already know I'm 100% pro-black, but peep this, fam. I was in the backyard, taking a blunt to the face, then she came out there. She took the blunt from me and hit it Bob Marley hard, without coughing. Then she grabbed my dick and said she wanted to fuck the black off me. And you know I'm black as hell, so I said, let's get out of here. Already, you know I don't turn down nothing but my collar. So save the lecture. Deuces." Sonny walked away, holding up the peace sign. "That's your friend." Stephanie rolled her eye at Steve. Steve walked off and started telling the guests thanks for coming. Then he slid off upstairs and flopped in the bed, barely able to kick his shoes off before he fell asleep. "Sweetheart, wake up. Wake up, sweetheart," Stephanie said over and over. "What? What? Am I late for work?" Steve was startled and discombobulated. "No, silly, you're off today." "I have to tell you what happened when you went to bed," Stephanie said, laughing while she was speaking. "It couldn't wait until the morning? What time is it?" "No, and it's almost 3, but forget all that." When the guests started leaving, I noticed Slim's car was still out there. We looked for him, but he wasn't anywhere to be found, so I called his cell phone. Pretty Pearl and I listened until we found Slim and his wife passed out in the garage half naked. I wish you could have seen how they were positioned. It was hilarious. I about laughed myself sober, sweetheart. She took off her clothes and got under the covers. That's crazy. I hope you got pictures, baby. You know it. Happy birthday, my love, Stephanie said as she kissed him, then slapped him. What the fuck was that for? He held his face looking confused. Oh, it wasn't none of my thirsty friends who offered to stay and clean up. It was backstabbing Pearl. I see how she looks at you. That girl is in love with you, Stephanie said as she turned her back to him, pulling all the cover. Happy birthday to me, he said very dryly as he clapped his hands to cut the lights off. Good night. I didn't want any cover anyway, with your special needs ass. He turned his back to her.